bonjour, 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 hola, hola, hola. I learned how to say hello in Arabic yet. I'm on my way. Okay. Hello and welcome, or welcome back to the palace, which continually changes and never looks the same, but that's okay. I have just exited out of I don't know how long it was because I didn't have a timer, but I just exited out of a meditative session that I already knew I wanted to enter into, and there are some things that I received as far as like a song actually that I plan to share in another video, most likely going to be on Patreon, but I was very grateful for that to come out, and I'll speak more about that in another video. This was something that I meditated on for about a week now, and this is something that I want to be made clear for anyone new who is following me, and for even those of you who have been following me. This is something that I wanted to talk about and state moving forward so that everyone could have an understanding of something that me as a person I have been continually struggling with and going through for most of my life. It feels like it's something important for you to know about me as you continue to follow the journey here, so you can understand some of what may be changing about me. I'm gonna get some water because my throat's a little dry. So, to keep a message as short and clear and concise as possible, first I want to express that there is a channeler, a very divine channeler, and I will tag her below in the description box. I always write and put all of my information in the description box, so if you ever want to know anything or find me, connect in any way, shape, or form, it's always in my description box. I found a channeler, a divine channeler, a couple of years ago, and if you've been following me, then you already are probably aware because I mention her a lot, or I'll tag her videos, or mention things that I've learned because of her. And she used to go by Water Baby Tarot. She is now known as Balmy Spirit. And just last week she does weekly spreads for the collective as well as for each element, and then sometimes she'll do sign readings. And I found her right before I moved to Colorado and started living on my own and living out of my car, ABC, and she has consistently supported me throughout my entire journey with all of the things that she channels. And she is a divine channel. She is speaking straight to her spirit guides, to source spirit light, and providing so much value, so many life-changing shifts through what she channels. And so just last week I was watching her and she did a video, and you can check it out, and she did one for the elements that I was listening to, and it was talking about being a peacock when you're really a fox. And to make the long channeling short, she was essentially speaking on the fact that there was either a person in my environment or myself, and I always applied to myself before I applied to anyone else around me, that has a peacock veneer, which is very superficial, which is very like, kind of like, you know, hi, welcome, you know, like that, like very just like superficial and fake when they don't need to be, when in reality underneath the peacock they're the fox, which is intelligent and witty and observant, maybe a little bit more quiet, but the peacock is like, yeah, blah blah blah. And when she was saying this and relaying this, I was sitting with myself, me and my partner were on the bed, and I was like, yeah, I do that a lot. And when I first took it in, it's not like when I first hear something that I immediately sometimes can just transmute it like that. This is something I wanted to talk about because, like I said, it's something I've been struggling with for a very long time, since like childhood. And not to say that I don't enjoy smiling, I don't enjoy being nice, I don't enjoy being kind. There are a lot of things that have been coming up in my current reality, as well as looking back into my childhood, that this peacock to fox message resonated really strongly with like myself, how I present myself to people. And it's kind of funny too, because The reason I want to speak about it is because I'm trying really hard to let that go, to let the peacock go and not do that anymore. And so some of you have probably found me and connected to me sometimes when I was the peacock. And then maybe even people haven't because I was the peacock. And then sometimes I'm able to be the fox, and that's when people connect to me. And then, sometimes people don't want to connect to me when I'm the fox. So it's like helping me understand who actually knows me and connects to me as like my just fox self and not my peacock self. And so I was sitting with that all week because there's a lot of times where I'll just, play like the peacock. It's also, she also said, like playing stupid and playing dumb and acting like very like naive because you don't want to make other people uncomfortable with the way you actually look or the way you actually act or your actual intelligence level. And that is something that has only come into my awareness a couple of times in my life. One time when I was tripping on acid, I remember, I will not forget it because I was sitting in the chair and I like let it go. I like let the and I just kind of like relaxed into myself. I was like, this is what I feel like. This is how I feel. And it's not like I'm not happy. This is just what I feel like to be at like rest, at peace. Instead of being like, it just feels like, like pulled up on a string, being like, yeah, this is how I feel. It felt good. And then, that kind of was something I realized on my acid trip, but then kind of let it go and then continued to do it and do it and do it. And then just recently, my partner and I were watching Wednesday. I'm sure you've watched it too. It said it was like more popular than Stranger Things. So I was like, oh snap. And I remember when we were watching it, I was so surprised at how much I resonated with her and how much I felt like, oh my God, that's how I feel. I feel like that. I like feel that's me on the inside. I just don't show that. A lot of times I don't show it because people think I'm upset, people think I'm angry, people think I'm mad, they think I'm unapproachable, which my two final interesting notes is interesting when I think about the fact that I'm a Capricorn rising. And every time I've read about being a Capricorn rising, it says that they come off very like, you're not sure, they're like very reserved, very like professional looking. Like every time I went on like Tumblr and was looking at the aesthetic for Capricorn rising, I never felt that way. I was like, I smile all the time. What are they talking about? And little did I know, this is something I've been doing for years. Like, at least, I'm 29, so at least 25 years of my life. Because I know I just started it very young. And so that was also one of my other interesting notes, is like feeling this dissonance to my rising sign because I wasn't rising into it. I was still in my Cancer sun, which isn't, like I said, it's not like I don't want to smile, I'm not kind, that I don't want to help. There's just a difference when you have this way of doing things and being that isn't you, that starts to get real creepy after a while when you start noticing it. And that's why I love Balmy Spirit so much, because she brings so many subconscious things to light for me. And so I was sitting with the Capricorn rising thing, sitting with the Wednesday Adams thing, sitting with, just every time I've done that. And then just recently, I've been partaking of cannabis more frequently. And I just want to be clear, when I say I take and consume plant medicine with queen cannabis, it's not like I like this. It's not like I am smoking all of this. I'm literally like, just take one pull and that's all I need for my energetic body. Every body is different. So usually I just take one and I'm good. And that's kind of how I've always been. And for me, it doesn't really make me feel like higher. It like actually grounds me into like, oh snap, I'm living here on earth in this present reality. And I've been taking it pretty much every night as we get into our creative flow in our new studio and our new creative space. And I'll be talking to my partner and I can tell that I'm doing it even with him. Like, I'm like, yeah, la 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 la. And because I'm on the medicine, Queen Cannabis helps you to heal and release things that aren't you and things you need to work on. I would say something and then it'd be quiet and I'd be sitting with that. I'm like, why am I talking like that? Why am I doing this with you? And so, to kind of backtrack just for a moment, the first time I smoked in a long time, I remember that happening to my face. I remember like smoking and just being like, and like my face just like relaxed, and I was like, am I always just like peacock? Everything, yep, I'm just smiling, yep, I'm playing dumb, yep. When reality, a lot of the reasons why I choose to do that or have been doing that for so long, and you've probably seen it on the channel, is because sometimes people take when you look a certain way the wrong way, and I think that's what must have been happening to me, because my Libra moon doesn't like disharmony and doesn't like conflict and doesn't like tension, and so if I am talking to someone and I'm saying something to them in this space, it may come off a lot more harshly and trigger them and do all these things that cause the disruption and disharmony that I don't want than if I present it like this. I'm like, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. But maybe they're not really able to resonate with or receive what I'm saying to them when I say it like that, because it seems superficial. If I was like, well, you know, it's probably not nice to like hate your brother, like, just an example. And then for me to say, well, you know, it's probably not nice for you to hit your brother. It's like two completely different beings saying something that will be received differently, and that's like to go with my 8th house stellium, to go with my Pluto dominance, like all of these transmutation things. It's basically like me avoiding something I'm supposed to be on Earth doing, which is like providing a space for shadow work to occur. And it can't occur if I'm just like, la la la. Maybe after it has occurred, and then I can be like, I'm really proud of you. You did great. And then they're like, oh my God. These are some things I've been thinking about. And I wanted to share it because the channel is going to continue to grow. And I want everyone who is here with us to actually get to know us and get to know me. And for me to know me and to allow me to be me. And for you to understand why I haven't been me. And that I'm just learning it now too, and that it hasn't been intentional or to deceive. It has literally been something I have been programmed with for so long, to make other people comfortable, to dumb myself down, to not seem as intelligent. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. So I'm not going to be doing that as much anymore. Like I said, I can smile. I know how to, like, that's not the issue. For me, it's going to be more surrendering myself to just being myself and knowing that that's okay. In one of the deepest ways, and this may be the fact that Saturn is almost entering my 2nd house, I'm getting these lessons at the end of my first of myself, of me, of my being, to be like, it's okay to look a little, I don't know, like myself. I think I've attributed so much to it, and I'm closing it out here because I don't want this video to be too long, attributed much to it of like times where I have been at work alone and I'm just working. It's not like I'm like, I'm working, I'm alone. I'm like, working, doing my thing. And then someone will come up to me and they'll be like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, why? They're like, I don't know, you're not. And I was like, it's because I'm not smiling. And you don't know how many times in my life I've had to say that sentence to know enough that that's like apparently something that people know me for. So when I'm not smiling, they think something's wrong. When in reality, it's they've caught me in a moment where I've been able to let my mask down and not be on for them. They're like, oh, is something wrong? I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm just not smiling. And then like to sit with that truth in myself. I never really sat with it. I would just be like, it's because I'm not smiling. And then, this is to close it out, I'm also starting, because if you've watched my recent video, I was talking about falling off the spiritual practice and hopping back on it, and I've been saying my affirmations every morning again. That's been added back in, and so my nose is open for me to smell and breathe, because it's difficult for me to breathe through my, has been, not anymore because it's opening. I would breathe through my mouth. So since my mouth is already open, instead of looking like this, breathing with my mouth open, I would breathe like this. So I was breathing through my mouth and doing this with my face, just to make it look like I was doing something versus like slack-jawed mouth breather. So I would smile, and so it was like two things combined into one. But I'm starting to breathe through my nose, which means I can close my mouth. If I close my mouth, I look like this. And that's something that you're going to see more of. And so I trust that everything that I've just talked about, which is a very small fractionized version of things I can really speak on, I trust that you have understood a little bit more about me, you understand where I'm coming from, you understand why I wanted to share this with you, you understand how big of a deal it is to me to try and release something like that I've been doing for like all of my life. And supporting me in doing that. Being like, you know what, go ahead and don't smile. I know your heart is in the right place. I trust that that's going to happen as I'm sharing this, because the more we share our truth and authenticity, the more we receive it. So I'm ready for that. So thank you for listening. Thank you for sitting here with me in my little meditative space. Um, is there anything I want you to know before I close this out? Anything you need to see about me, or more of what I do, or the things that I believe in, or things I want to support, is all in my link tree. I link documentaries and videos and tests and things that have really changed me in my link tree. You can check that out. There are ways to support us there. The Patreon will be ready after Mercury has gone direct, because I wanted to wait so I could really prepare a good space for our musical creation. So that's still in the works with my partner. But that is everything. And so thank you for receiving me and for feeling me. If you have felt this way, if I'm bringing you something that's like going to be an aha moment for you, where you're like, oh my god, I am the peacock alive, then please let me know in the comments what your experience has been like with that, what you've noticed, or how, if you've already overcome that, how you've overcome it, especially with people that you feel like you still need to do it for, because you don't want to trigger them. So I'm open to communicating and supporting and getting advice from one another on something like this, because I really just want to be able to be myself. So thank you for listening. I'm just going to continue to sit with my little crystals. This video has been brought to you by Selenite and Persephone. And until next time, as always, I'm sending you peace and I'm sending you love. Thank you for listening.